are being killed, families wiped out, and the whole world is just scrolling like nothing is happening. I am actually sick of this, yeah? And don't come here and tell me it's an ongoing conflict. So what? So what? Because it happens often, we must just sit and accept death, yeah? Should we do that? So what are we saying now? Some lives matter less because it's not the first time? Because it's far away? What kind of humanity is that? Because let me tell you, if this was Europe, if this was America, you people would not sleep on the story. Breaking news everywhere, hashtags, headlines, sympathy, everything, yeah? But because it's Nigeria, it's quiet, it's ignored, it's treated like it's normal. There is nothing normal about people dying. At the end of the day, we are all human, same blood, same pain, same families, same tears. So how do we pick and choose whose pain deserves attention? How do we scroll past people dying like it's just another video? That's not just a media problem. That's a humanity problem. We see you, Nigeria. We hear you. And we stand with you in these times. Because you know what? This silence, it's not just loud. It's heartless, yeah? This silence, it's not just loud.
Nigerians may take this as par for the course, but to the rest of the world, it's abhorrent. The fact is, there is a river of blood money, mineral money, as well as drug money that flows through the north through these jihad networks. And what I have from frontline, first-person observation, not me, but reports to me from people who know about it, that this blood money, as much as $1 billion a year skimmed off this blood mineral trade, goes to pay a lot of these corrupt generals and other people that are supposed to be stopping this to mess up, to miss it, to show up late, to not be there.
All right.
And that pattern is consistent. They know where these terrorists are. They know their names. They could wipe them out if they wanted to, but instead they call them brothers and sons because they are ideologically in line with them and they benefit from this activity. It is a horrific situation. The innocent people are cannon fodder for their conquest and for their greedy skimming of the resources of the nation.
Hello, everybody. This is Judd Saul from Equipping the Persecuted. I just wanted to give you a quick update as to what we know has been going on in Jos. What we've seen is an attack that we haven't seen in a long time. This didn't happen on some village on the outskirts of Jos. This actually happened in the city of Jos, where several Fulani ethnic militia with AK-47s on motorcycles drove in and started massacring and shooting as many people as they could. They got in and got out. I don't know how a bunch of armed Fulani with AK-47s with motorcycles just enter in a city with no interference and get out with no interference. There has been no justice. No attackers have been caught. For what we know, they haven't been pursued. This is an ongoing situation right now. As of right now, according to my sources on the ground, 29 Christians have been killed on Palm Sunday. Our intelligence on the ground still stands that Fulani are still gathering in mass, and they are ready to attack in Benue. They're going to attack in Plateau. They're still looking at southern Kaduna, Chikun, Kafachan, Kajuru. They are still planning attacks in those areas. And still in Taraba, they are still planning major attacks around Chinchinji. Nothing has slowed down. Nothing has stopped. In fact, more Fulani have been gathering in those areas as well. So what you saw on Palm Sunday, according to our intelligence, is just the beginning. It's going to be getting a lot worse. So all the Nigerians that are watching this video, that are seeing this, I urge you, if you live in Plateau, if you live anywhere on the outskirts north or south of Jos, be vigilant. If you see something, say something. If you see armed terrorists moving from one village, notify the next village. Notify the military, notify the police that you're seeing movements. This is the same thing in southern Kaduna, and this is the same thing for people along the Benue, Plateau, Benue, Nasarawa borders. Be vigilant and be on the lookout. What we know now is that there has been nothing done to slow down the attacks. I don't know what else to say. I'm just asking that President Tinubu, General Musa, various governors, please defend the innocent, protect your people, allow them to celebrate Easter without killing. Please defend the defenseless and stand up for your people. But locals, you have to do your job. You have to be vigilant, figure out what you're going to do. But this is what we know. So our teams are assessing situations on the ground. We've been helping the wounded. We've been helping the displaced. We're doing everything we can to help. But this is my warning. I have to tell you this based on the intelligence we've received. Stay vigilant. The attacks are not going to stop. They only plan to increase. So do what you have to do, guys. I'm praying for you. A lot of us are praying for you, and we're doing everything we can to help. God bless.
All right, so reactions have grown in Nigeria following a deadly attack in Plateau State that has shocked many across the country. Now, Nigerian actors Kunle Remi and Mr. Macaroni have strongly condemned the killing in Jos, where gunmen reportedly killed about 40 people in Angwan Rukuba area of Jos North on the 29th of March. All right, still on this particular story. Now, Nigerian rapper Ice Prince has expressed grief following a violent incident in Jos, which happened over the weekend. That is on Sunday. Saying since 2001, Jos with a heartbreak emoji.
Bringing it back to the Nigerian artists Ice Prince, Duncan Mighty, and Peruzzi, who performed at the National Convention of the All Progressives Congress that was held at the Eagle Square during the weekend. Now, however, many Nigerians have criticized the artists for performing at the event, arguing that lending their platforms to the ruling party amounts to endorsing an administration many hold responsible for the country's current hardships. And, this, if we take a look at the video of, Ice Prince, we had Peruzzi and Duncan Mighty performing. People absolutely have the right to support, vote, or work with whoever they choose. That's the foundation of a democracy. But at the same time, public choices, especially by influential figures, will always be interpreted beyond just personal freedom. We see the irony in, Ice Prince's tweet, of course, him saying thoughts and prayers as well, and, tweeting that and then going to perform. So when artists align themselves with political power, it raises questions, naturally, not necessarily about wrongdoing, but about perception and timing. These individuals whose platforms were built by the public. So it's understandable that people read deeper meaning into those decisions. At what point does I'm free to choose begin to feel fairly or unfairly like a disconnect from the everyday realities of people who support them? The tension is really where the conversation sits. It's less about, the condemnation and more about the optics, because in a country where many are struggling, certain associations can come across as out of touch, even if it was never the intention. Ikena, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I share your thoughts on this particular take on these stories that we've taken, back to back, because it goes beyond just lending your platform, endorsing these arts, endorsing the government. Whenever they do an event, you're there to perform and entertain them. As much as you're there to maybe cash a check, it goes beyond just a check. If you have a question to ask them, or you are not comfortable with what's going on in the country, then why lend your voice to their campaign or lend your voice to anything that has to do with the government that people have been questioning about how inept they are or they have been since they came into power. But before I share my elaborate thought on this, let me just take the next story, which is also tied to reactions and celebrity behaviors. As a media personality Kofi the Guru has sparked conversation online after criticizing Nigerian bloggers over the type of content they promote.
It appears government has bribed all of you to continue to distract Nigerians from the focus that we should focus on. People have been killed in Jos. Rather than focus on that and let us address congent issues that can make government wake up to the insecurity in the country, you are discussing Funke Akindele and Tony Abraham did not greet themselves.
All right, so I mean, tempers are flaring online, and it's understandable. Now, I'll just say that we live in a country where every day people go out to make a living without the guarantee or safety of their lives, as things stand. And it's worse in the north, as we've seen the loss of lives in Jos, Kaduna, Zamfara, amongst other states that have witnessed attacks in recent times. Now, people would say or ask what the role of Nigerian celebrities or public figures are. Well, the thing is, they play a huge role in asking key questions, given the power they wield to reach people in government through their platforms. We've seen how, some Nigerian celebrities lend their voices to the war in Iran, Ukraine, and at some point, Black Lives Matter in the US, and even Palestine. But back home, most of them stay mute to the killings going on in the country. They also get into politics, by campaigning and singing the praises of government officials who are yet to deliver on the mandate they promised before coming into office. Now, I'll say this, you can't criticize your source of income, which is true. So performing or being on the payroll of a government that many have called out for their ineptitude or lack of solutions to common problems citizens go through every day, or even doing the basic job of protecting lives and properties, will always be met with condemnation from the people, like we've seen on social media. Now, we say, may Nigeria not happen to us. Now, this phrase has turned into a means by which people cope and pray that the failure of the government of the day does not affect them or their loved ones. But guess what? We can fall victim to the shortcomings of the government. That's why every voice matters in speaking up for every citizen who doesn't have a voice or a platform to air their grievances, or the ones whose voices have been subdued due to the hardship they face. That's why people, fans and the likes, will constantly point out opportunities that our public figures can use to pass a message to the government. They will call them out for their silence during periods when the common man needs a voice, but they stay quiet. Now, a lot of people would fight so hard to become celebrities or public figures, but there's something I always ask, and I would ask my friends this. Beyond your music, your movies, the laughter you bring us through skits and comic reliefs, what do you want to be remembered for? Now, the media will do its part, that is TV, radio, and print. But, beyond bringing you the news, to the public, it requires more to get our leaders to take action and do needful. So we can stay here, me and Shaito, and talk about these issues. But, beyond us just staying in the studio and discussing these matters, everybody should lend your voices.
Yeah, well, let me start by sending my condolences to the families of victims. I watched a particular video with a woman, a mother, with her son on her chest.
Very heartbreaking.
I wept when I saw that video. Oh. Now, I want to believe that we're not doing enough. When I say we're not doing enough, the government and the security agencies and even the citizens that are also part of managing the security architecture are also not doing enough. I have appeared on your platform on several occasions, and we have tried to profile some solutions to these attacks or violence attacks or incidents that we see. The question here now is, who takes these solutions that we profile on your media to the ears that people that needs to hear? Because we are experts. The fact that I don't put on a uniform doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a researcher. I go far, far, far above what I think is happening. I think that enough of excuses.
Right.
The modus operandi is the same, whether we like it or not. We've been talking about the incidents in the Plateau, times with that number. Ngozi and I have talked about it 2-3 years ago. I appeared here, and we are seeing the same thing. So when we see failure on the part of government and on the part of security agents, I think this is failure of intelligence, whether we like it or not. We can see certain numbers of persons riding on a motorcycle and all that, and you will not dare ask them questions. Where are they heading to?
So how effective do you think this ban on motorcycle use in the state, and of course they've lifted the 48-hour curfew there, they've relaxed it, not total lifting. Why do you think government seems to be reluctant to actually apply maximum force against crimes of this nature?
The effect of the ban or suspension or whatever on motorcycle, I think is temporary. It doesn't resort to addressing the issues. The perpetrators of these acts have left, they've long gone. You can't even find them anywhere, right? So the motorcyclist that does that on for Survivor, you have tried to see how to suspend, how to make them earn a living for a period of time. Now, I think that's a short-term solution or measure to the issues that we're talking about. Now, do we have our experience, history, with regards to these insecurity issues bedeviling Nigeria, particularly the plateau that we're having this conversation about? We should stop enough of the talk. We don't even practice what we preach. It's not about condemnation. It's not about press releases. Nigerians are tired of condolence messages. You see, families are crying. A lot is happening. We cannot. Now, we heard that the perpetrators will be brought to book. It happened in Benue, Yelwata. Where are the perpetrators? It happened in Kwara. It has happened everywhere. Where are the perpetrators? These statements do not serve as deterrent. And we keep seeing this over and over again. I think that we are talking about implementation of certain things that government is doing. I'm not saying government is not doing anything. We have seen where government is talking about forest guards. We need presence of security in our rural community where this crime happen and all that, because these criminals leverage on the gap.